All right, so what I had asked you to do was to flip back to page 2 of your packet. See if there was anything on there that we have emphasized a lot of times this chapter in the last couple of days, weeks, whatever. And you're like, I bet that's going to be on the test. Was there anything on this page that kind of seemed like might be on the test this week, tomorrow? On page 2? Observation, instruments, inference, prediction, cyclic, non-cyclic, and classification. Not gonna lie, they're pretty much all on there. So what should we put on our review sheet? So again, this is the review sheet that we started yesterday. Yesterday, we only focused on all the density stuff. Today, we're gonna add the rest of the chapter. And the first thing we're gonna do is make sure you have the quick definitions of observation, inference, prediction. So we'll start with observation. And basically quick and easy, what is an observation? Yep, so it's a statement that used your 5 senses. No, I always say no thinking required for inferences. You just see it, hear it, taste it, touch it. No guessing, no nothing. You just see it. What's the matter? That's an inference. So now I said observation, but what's an inference? Is a guess. Yeah, based on an observation. So you observe the rock is nice and smooth. You guess, or you make an inference that it was transported by a river. And the last one is prediction. Yep, so prediction is a guess. If you can't fit it all in this one box, go ahead and put it in the next box. We won't use all the boxes today. I highly recommend going back to that quiz, which you had last Friday, and reviewing those answers on the quiz to make sure you're really comfortable with what's an observation, what's an inference, what's a prediction. There's a couple more vocab words on that page. One of them was an instrument. What's an instrument? Yep, so it's a tool used to make an observation. So again, you're using your eyes and an instrument to measure how big a rock is. Or you're using your eyes and a scale and maybe your sense of feeling to say how heavy a rock is. It's still an observation though. Another word that is going to come up on the test, cyclic. What do these events do if they repeat? Repeat in a predictable pattern. The best example is events that happen in our solar system. Can you think of any events that happen in our solar system? Sunrise, anything having to do with the sun. So sunrise, sunset, the moon phases, when we can see Mars and Jupiter, any of that stuff is cyclic. It happens in a repeating pattern. Do we need to write down the definition of non-cyclic? No. If you want to, you can on the back. So non-cyclic would be events that don't happen in a pattern. And the last word would just be classification. One word that could replace the word classify or classification. If you classify things, what do you do with those things? That's a different type of classify. You're right. You're talking about like the government will classify secret stuff so the rest of us don't have to worry about it. Put them into groups. So I'm just going to write classification is groups. Yep, grouping would probably be a better word. Again, not just random groups, but based on observation. So then when you kept flipping through the packet, after page 2 was page 3, which was just a bunch of examples. So again, if you cannot remember, you're not super comfortable with observation, inference, prediction, go back to page 3. Cover up the answers, see if you can reread them and figure out what the answers are. You should have the correct answers there now. Same with page 4. It was just Regents questions about observation, inference, prediction. Hint, tomorrow is all Regents questions. So you will have to be able to read questions like this and figure out the answers. So definitely, here's another place to practice. All right, top of page 5 is scientific notation. Do you think you have to know this? Yeah, so make sure you know. So move, decimal. Oh, how did I move the decimal? Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I have an old packet here. So yes, top of page 6. Move decimal, number of spots listed as an exponent. Meaning 3.2 times 10 to the 5th means you move the decimal 3.2, 5 spots, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, comma, 1, 2, 3. So make sure you're comfortable with that. Again, check out page 6 if you need more examples of that. Yes, if it's a negative number, you go all the way. I will tell you for tomorrow, they are all positive numbers. Page 7, page 8, page 9, 10 were all graphs. What should we know about graphs? Okay, they need to be labeled. Speaking of which label, which variable goes on the x-axis? Independent. Independent variable, I'm going to label that goes on the x-axis. And what is the independent variable? I can control. Dependent y-axis. This is the one that changes. Because of independent variable. And one last thing about graphs that I want, this is going to be interpreting a line graph. Sorry, I just wrote that really small and squished, sorry. Interpreting a line graph, it is written on the top of page 9 if you can't see mine. What did we do? How did I say you always read this? You start off with as what? What's the first blank? The independent, so the x-axis. Always read the x-axis first, and the x-axis always does what? The x-axis always increases. Then, so as the x-axis increases, what else? We have a blank here. What's the second blank? That's going to be the y-axis. And then the next blank is read the line. So as x-axis increases, y-axis, tell me, does it increase, decrease, or stay the same? That was pages 9 and 10, was making sure you could do those. Page 11 is the rate of change. I'm going to give you a hint. I did not include rate of change. Tomorrow, the test is 19 multiple choice questions. And everything on that test is here on this review sheet. So what should you do with this review sheet tonight?
Take it home and study it.
No, what do you mean, take it home and study it?
Like go over it with someone.
Okay, that's a good idea.
So,
I- That could work. What I'm saying is, if you know these, so I have 14 boxes. If you understand these 14 boxes, you should do pretty good on the 19 questions. So what do I mean? Do you know them? So when you say, like you guys are saying, if you have a study partner, or even if you're by yourself, cover up, like in this one, ask yourself, what happens when you increase temperature? What do the molecules do? And you should say that they spread out. And because they spread out, they become less dense. So you could do this a couple of different ways. You could just do what I just did. You could put it on index cards. You could have someone help you. If you have no one to help, that's fine. Just make sure that you know these 14 boxes. Not super difficult. And you will have to do math. So make sure you know how to use the magic triangle. Know what goes on top. Okay, M is always on top. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna play Kahoot. I think you should keep your review sheet out. You might want to, some of them involve math. There's some extra space here. You can do math in these empty spots if you want. We're going to, does everyone have their computers and are they charged? Was there a charger left over there? Oh, never mind, they returned it. It's right here. It's right here. No need to worry. No need to panic. They actually gave it back. Does everybody have a computer? All right, so here's a computer, a charger goes, okay, go sit in the back. You don't have your computer. You don't have your computer. Everybody else have a computer that we can actually turn on. Zach, do you have one? Nope. What I'm gonna do is say you two, do you have your phones?
Yeah.
Do you have your phones? Are you okay going on Kahoot with your phone?
Yeah.
I do. I got one more charger. Actually, no, Cole didn't take mine. I have 2 chargers. I think she could just go in the back. Sarah's a little too eager to have you come over there. See, now if you had just not mentioned it. All right, let me share my screen. I am recording this so that in case anybody who's not here wants to review using Kahoot, they can. We're gonna go to classic mode. You will need a calculator. So if you want to use one on your computer or grab one of the blue ones. I don't know what happened to the sound. It says when there's videos, it's not available. So I didn't see a video other than this little blob thing here. But I wouldn't think that would do it. Now I think I have it arranged so you can see, actually think I can even change that. Yes, except we need one on Mr. D for the calculators.
How's this?
It should be okay.
We'll give it a shot.
Too bright.
So the reason I say that, guys, some people didn't know this, but your calculators are solar powered or light powered. So the blue ones only work. In fact, how about you guys over here in the dark? Is your good card working? Okay. They were not working second period, but it was darker second.
Wow.
Hopes.
Isn't it that thing?
Yeah, that's the solar power. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I will say, guys, I don't super think Kahoot is the best way to review, especially when we have this math stuff, because tomorrow your test is not timed. You can take as long as you need to take your test tomorrow. Whereas today, obviously, we don't have endless amounts of time. So if you are someone and you know yourselves, I take a while because 1, yeah, I have to read all the words. 2, it takes me a minute to do the math. So if that's you and you aren't doing awesome on this, we will play other review games throughout the year, but it's just not ideal. So please don't let your score here make you feel good or bad about the test tomorrow. Because if you are the person who takes a little bit longer to take the test, this might not work awesome for you. So,
It won't let me.
I did.
are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah.
Keep saying this like we're not-
So you can finish this.
That's hard.
Oh, looks like we gotta share.
Yeah, no.
I'm wondering, are you not?
Zach. No. Get that. Yes, thank you.
Yep.
I think it's just one day.
No, that's not A. That's
That's
apple. It's apple.
Everybody else in? No, what you're saying? All right, you got it. Oh,
Zach.
4, 8,
CF.
4, 9. You would have scared of that. There you go. And now is everybody in? No?
Yes, ma'am.
You were, I saw that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Is it? Who's not in? Oh, yep, that makes sense. I guess I can forgive you. Not yet? No, not yet.
Come on.
It's okay. The computer wasn't looking on. I mean, I got the window open. I agree. Well, you're also half naked, so.
I'm not half naked.
There she is. All right, let's get going here.
Excuse me?
Got it. I'm like, where's the start button? What's going on? All right, so like I said, I'm not gonna read all the words. I have it set up so everything is in front of you, but I will read as much of it as I can. I'll read the question, you guys read the answer. A student measured the mass to be 294.4 grams and the volume to be 73.6 cubic centimeters. Which mineral is it? So this takes you a little bit. You have a minute. If you need to write things down, write them down on a piece of paper. I would have to write them down.
Yeah, from Boston, South.
Everybody has the chart in front of them, right? It shows up. Oh, it does, great. Okay, so you do only have 10 seconds left. Again, I apologize for those of you who do take longer. All right, nice work. So you found the density because they gave you the mass. They gave you the volume, mass divided by volume. You should have gotten an answer of 4, and 4 matched up with the density of corundum. By the way, they love that stuff, where you have to do the math and check a chart. That is the kind of stuff that they really do all the time. So just get used to questions where you kind of got to know earth science and know how to read a chart. And just- Holy cannoli. Which conclusion about relative density of the rock and liquid is true? So you've got a picture there. Which one is true? Because you didn't read all the words.
No, I did.
So the rock is less dense. How do we know the rock is less dense?
I did look at the picture.
Oh, we didn't look at the picture. So when I say read all the words, I also mean look at the pictures. So I want you to read the picture, and so you can see we've got a rock there, and this rock is actually floating. And I know that's not what most rocks do, but there are some rocks, and this is one. So Carter, I'm guessing you just thought like rock sig.
Yes.
Mhm. And that's exactly why they would use this rock, is to catch the kids who aren't paying 100% attention to the question. So that was perfect, Carter. Thanks for showing us what not to do. Like, I really appreciate that. I'm not joking. All right. Convert 65 million to scientific notation. How many places do you have to move the decimal point?
Oh, I got that wrong.
Did we count zeros?
No.
Yeah.
Silly goose.
Okay, so remember with scientific notation, we just don't count zeros and say it was times 10 to the 6. You gotta count how many places you move the decimal point. So if we start here, and we remember you always just have the first 2, decimal goes in between the first 2. So not one of these was the answer, not one of these 2 that has 65 something. We wanted 6.5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 spots. Don't count zeros. Don't just count zeros.
Well, you can't count zeros and then you gotta add them.
Yes, yes, you can. That is actually how I did it. I just didn't want to talk about it. I did count the zeros and then counted that it was 1 more than the number of zeros. But just count how many places to move the decimal point.
Silly goose.
Students observed and measured. So they were there, they were observing and measuring the characteristics of a stream. Which is most likely an inference? How to control it.
It is what it is.
All right, so those of you who picked 1, it is a guess, but what is 1? It's a prediction, it's a guess about the future. So we just wanted the plain old regular guess. For this one, it said the depth is different at various distances from the bank. As the question said, they observed and measured. So they were there, they observed, and they went out and measured the different depths. So that's still an observation. The correct explanation of why ice floats is that compared to liquid water, solid water, or solid ice,
Let's go.
why are we whoopsing?
Whoopsie daisy.
So they were asking about the ice. Solid ice is less dense, that's why it's floating. Remember, the more mass, we gotta do the mass divided by the volume. A pebble has a mass of 35 and a volume of 14 cubic centimeters. What is the density? We'll go grab some water because you have a minute to do this.
Oh, him. Be nice,
Stop saying your hand out loud.
All right, looks like we all got it. 2.5. Now one.
Oh.
Miguel. Mass over volume.
My guess is that one was multiplying. So remember the magic triangle, mass, density, cover up the D, you're left with mass on top, volume on the bottom.
Thank you, Brad.
let's go.
It was me. The average, so this isn't on the quiz, but this is what we did in class, the average rate of temperature change. Remember the formulas on the front page of your reference table? So you don't have to know this for tomorrow, but it is change divided by time.
That was it.
This exact question we did in class.
Think there we go.
Well, just take a look at how much does it change divided by how much time?
No, I got it wrong.
Oh, you.
I think.
You know,
Yeah, I got it wrong.
you know,
Which one did you pick?
and
Think yourselves, Dad.
All right, so this one, like I said, it won't be on the test, but it is still good to know it's changed. So it started at 30, went up to just below 50, so around 48, so it changed 18 degrees. It took 6 hours to do that change, 6 to noon is 6 hours, so 18 divided by 6 is 3. But yes, that will not be on the test tomorrow. Sorry. And this is on the test. As air on the surface warms, the density of the air.
Let's go.
Hence, this is on your review sheet.
You made this thing.
Yes, it does decrease. Remember when you warm stuff up? Hot, sweaty molecules, they spread out just like hot, sweaty people. So when something's warm, it spreads out. And remember, the definition of density is how tightly packed. So if you're spreading out, you're not as tightly packed, you're less tightly packed. A solid object has a density of 3 grams per cubic centimeter. What is the mass of this object? So there you have the picture to figure out the volume. So this time we know the density, we know the volume, you're doing mass. Use your magic triangle. Not add, multiply. Remember, volume, you do length times width times height. Knock it off, Carter. Length times width times height gave us the volume. So 1 times 3 times 2. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. The volume was 6. Density was 3. Remember, for mass, M's on top. So I cover up the M. You're left with D next to V. So we do 6 times 3 gives us 18. As water cools from 4 to 0, its density, word for word off the homework yesterday. That was due yesterday. Only substance that this happens to, remember, water. Water freezes at 0. So this is going from liquid to solid. So water to ice, and then you remember ice floats on water. So ice is less dense than water. Those of you who picked increases, that's for every other material except for water. Everything else, when you cool it, becomes more dense. So just keep that in mind. Water is the weird one. Water, weird water. When a sample of the mineral calcite is heated, it expands, causing its density too. So there it actually lists the density of calcite. What happens when you heat it? Okay. So again, remember how I said they love these concepts where they make you know the science. So what happens to anything when you heat it besides water? What happens to the density? It goes down. Remember, the molecules spread out, decreasing the density, but then they made you look at a chart. Calcite has a density of 2.7. So we want anything less than 2.7, and that was the answer, less than 2.7. The primary purpose of a classification system isn't to enable people to. So why would we classify something? Classified to organize. Organize, put into groups. Under the same conditions of temperature and pressure, 3 samples of the same substance will have the same. Oh man, you guys, this is definitely on the test tomorrow. All right, let's do one more. Huh? That doesn't matter who got it wrong. Just remember, same substance, same density. Last one for today. A student classifies several objects. The classification should be based on. Yay, always classify based on observation. Nice work. We obviously didn't get through the whole thing. Just make sure you review for tomorrow.
Yeah.